If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sonny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah.
Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives are up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures. And look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she's...
The morning the scandal surfaced seemed like any other coffee in hand, casually scrolling through the usual headlines. But then, something grabbed attention. The name Sunny Hostin flashed across the screen, and this time, it wasn't about her. Bold opinions on The View. No, this was different. It was about her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, and the headlines were far from flattering. Dr. Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon, and his practice, Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, found themselves at the center of a major controversy. The allegations, insurance fraud, illegal kickbacks, and brace yourself connections to a massive RICO lawsuit involving a jaw-dropping 180 defendants. This isn't just any case. It's a full-blown blockbuster. But before we dive deeper into the chaos, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single twist in this Hollywood-level scandal. Let's break it all down into legal terms and everything.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
I agree with most of what's been said. The RICO Act, short for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, was initially designed to take down organized crime. Think mobsters, gangsters, and all the shady dealings. But here's the twist this time. It's not the mafia in the spotlight. It's doctors, surgeons, and medical institutions. Suddenly, this courtroom saga feels less like Goodfellas and more like Grey's Anatomy, but with a side of fraud. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Hostin and others were allegedly orchestrating a scheme to exploit the healthcare system. The accusations? Receiving kickbacks for conducting unnecessary surgeries and billing insurance providers for procedures that might have never even taken place. Imagine these patients going under the knife, insurance companies footing the bill, while money changes, hands behind the scenes like a high-stakes poker game in the hospital.
I want a citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's...
Here's where things get really interesting. The lawsuit specifically accuses Dr. Hostin of allegedly receiving financial rewards for recommending or carrying out arthroscopic surgeries, those minimally invasive joint procedures. On the surface, these operations might seem perfectly legitimate, but the lawsuit suggests that some were completely unnecessary. Were these patients genuinely in need of knee or shoulder surgeries, or was someone simply chasing a hefty payout? If these accusations hold up, this could go down as one of the most jaw-dropping betrayals, making even the most dramatic soap operas look mild in comparison. Just think about putting your trust in a doctor, only to discover you were merely a pawn in a financial scheme. That kind of betrayal doesn't just hurt emotionally, it hits deep, literally.
It's always the people that always do the pointing, and it always comes back to them, all right? So when you said, this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange of...
Here's the twist. On the other side of this case is the American Transit Insurance Company, or ATIC. The plaintiff, ATIC, claims they've been swindled out of millions, alleging they were billed for surgeries that either didn't happen or weren't necessary. It's like paying for a steak and getting tofu instead. But let's be honest, Insurance companies don't exactly have clean hands either. They've been accused of underpaying doctors, denying claims, and exploiting every loophole to avoid paying what's owed. So, the big question remains, is Attic genuinely trying to expose a massive healthcare fraud, or is this just a last-ditch effort from a company teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, desperately trying to shift the blame?
According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers.
Dr. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Thwaites, didn't hold back. He slammed the lawsuit as a baseless attempt by Attic to recover their losses, labeling it a last-ditch effort by a company on the brink of financial ruin. His defense shifted the focus onto Attic, painting them as the true culprits. A classic courtroom move. When you're under fire, turn the tables on your accuser. And believe me, it's keeping the courtroom drama sizzling. But wait, there's more. Enter Joe Rogan, podcast, mogul and media critic. Rogan didn't pull any punches, calling out The View for what he saw as clear hypocrisy. He reminded everyone how Sunny Hostin had a history of trashing people while acting as if she were above reproach, all while likely being aware of her husband's shady dealings. And that's not all. Rogan went full throttle, roasting the show for being, well, downright ridiculous. He even quipped, if you average out the IQ of The View hosts, you'd still probably struggle to hit triple digits.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
yeah.
it is a rabies-infested henhouse.
Harsh? Maybe. But his fans were loving every second of it. Now, while Dr. Hostin fights to clear his name in court, his wife, Sunny, has remained eerily quiet. Normally, Sunny is the one who faces controversy head-on on The View. But when it comes to her husband's scandal, it's been nothing but silence. Why the hush? Is she standing by him? Trying to distance herself, or perhaps waiting for her lawyers to guide her on what to say? Fans are buzzing, some think she's protecting her public image, while others suspect she's staying quiet to avoid becoming the next target. Whatever the reason, her silence is definitely speaking volumes. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about Dr. Hostin. He's one of 180 defendants named in this massive lawsuit, which includes other doctors, medical practices, and even hospitals. If these allegations prove true, this could go down as one of the biggest medical fraud cases in recent history, a sprawling network of corruption exploiting loopholes in the healthcare system, raking in millions.
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit, okay? Now, let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Thwaites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread.
It's like a heist movie, except instead of robbing banks, these criminals are stealing insurance premiums. At the core of it all is a much bigger question. How much faith do we really have in the healthcare system when money seems to outweigh patient care? When doctors and insurance companies are more focused on profits than people, trust starts to crumble. Patients should feel safe when they see their doctor, not like they're walking into a financial trap. And let's not forget, if Attic is using this lawsuit as a cover to distract from their own financial struggles, they're only adding fuel to the fire. This whole situation is a tangled mess, and untangling it will be anything but easy. As of now, Dr. Hostin hasn't been convicted. These are just allegations. But this court battle is shaping up to be quite a spectacle. Both sides are preparing to throw everything they've got at each other. For now, all we can do is sit back, watch, and try to separate fact from fiction, whether Dr. Hostin is guilty or innocent. This case is already casting a harsh light on some uncomfortable truths about the healthcare and insurance industries. So, buckle up. This scandal is far from over. With each new twist, we'll be here with popcorn in hand, watching it all unfold like the courtroom drama it's destined to be. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a single update. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.